Hey guys, it's Ken here from OK Portugal. It's the middle of winter on our farm here in central Portugal, and yet the signs of spring are already here. All of these flowers are starting to come out, and they're absolutely covered in bees. In last week's episode, we were getting our vegetable patch ready for the spring. We did a bunch of rotavating, we did a bunch of raking, and pretty much just getting everything ready so that we can put some really nice raised beds in. It's been about a week and everything has settled in quite nicely. As you can see, we used a sprinkler over here to basically wet the ground, and what that's going to help do is hopefully compact it a little bit more. The idea is that we're going to be planting in raised beds. Those raised beds are going to go along this side, and we're going to plant grass seed for the rest of the areas. And then in summertime, we're going to have a nice green area where we can relax. It's also fenced off so that the animals and the dogs and stuff can't get in there and dig big holes. So we just got to build another 3 of these raised beds, and we can start putting them in place. So Gina,
yes,
let's get building.
Yes.
All right, Gina, stab the box. So VEGEGA were kind enough to give us a whole bunch of these raised beds. They aren't paying us for this episode or anything like that. All they asked in return is that we do a review. And so, you know, we're not really like a review channel or anything like that, but I think the best way to do a review on these is to build them, set them up, and then you guys can see what they look like. So in the box, they're protected by like a plastic film, and they've got a very high quality finish on them. It doesn't feel like the paint's going to chip off or anything like that. They're pretty easy to build if you give yourself lots of space to work. Everything that you need is here. They also supply like a little toolkit and all of the nuts and bolts that you need. And our neighbour's sheep have just arrived and they're going down to the bottom field. So that's one of the sides done. It's 32 inches high. I think it's 32 inches high. And then it's going to have these corner pieces on. And then it's about 2 foot wide. So 6.5 foot by 2 foot. It's very strange weather at the moment. We've got this big Saharan dust cloud that's blown over. And so everything's like very gloomy and just looks a bit strange. It is kind of warm though for the middle of winter. You can see this is what our car looks like just from that dust cloud that's come over and a little bit of rain. This is actually a common occurrence in Portugal to get these Saharan dust clouds. So if you do live here, be prepared to get your car all dirty like that every once in a while when they blow over the Mediterranean. Even the chickens have come to give us some moral support. It's starting to rain, so I don't think a little bit of rain is going to hurt anyone. We are nearly there. The final touches are to put this nice edging along the top so you don't have any potentially sharp bits, and then it'll look like this. And our Gina's just doing her Michael Jackson impersonation here.
You've got it at the worst bit. Like, this is the most difficult where you go over a joint.
Okay. And we're at the final hurdle. Don't slice your... Whoa. Perfect. Good job. Ta-da! So, these are the 3, and we have 4 in total. It's another beautiful day in sunny Portugal. Actually, I'm joking. It's about to start snowing on the Serra da Estrela, which is a huge mountain range in the very center of Portugal. So it's going to get very cold, and it's also going to get very cloudy and rainy and all sorts of stuff.
Well, it's not going to get cloudy, it's already cloudy.
It is already cloudy, yeah. It's actually very gloomy and cloudy.
Yeah.
Last week was beautiful. It was like blue skies and it was stunning.
Yeah, this week's been a bit drab.
It has been, yeah. But the most important part is, check out the beds.
Don't worry, this isn't their final resting place. We just brought them here to see what they look like and get some spacing. But VEGEGA state on their boxes that these have a 20+ year lifespan, so we need to be absolutely sure where we're going to put them.
This is the position that I wanted to have these in. Now obviously in practice things are slightly different, and Gina's not 100% happy with how these are. Obviously we haven't spaced them out correctly yet. They're not level or anything like that. But she's thinking that maybe what we do is we put them this way and we have them go along the fence line. So Gina and I have been moving these things around now for like the last hour or so. We just couldn't find something that we both agreed on, couldn't find something that we both liked. But I think we've come to an agreement. I think that this is going to be a good way to have them. Now, bear in mind, nothing's level yet, and we haven't worked out the spaces properly yet. But what we have here is, we have the greenhouse, and then we have all of this in a row. And I think when you're inside, so when you're in the kitchen, and you're looking out the kitchen window, washing dishes and stuff, you can keep an eye on the veggies and see, make sure that they're looking good. And you can see the greenhouse from here. And then you can see Gina in the background there popping her head up. And then over here, we can grow a nice big lawn. So I think that'll work well. I want something that's going to be as easy to maintain as possible. And with a lawnmower, you want to make sure that you don't have too many crazy shapes and objects and things to mow around. This should be quite easy. I'm going to measure these out so that we've got enough space for my mower to fit through. And all I have to do is get a mower up, the mower up, mower up, mower up. And then this entire sort of square area is going to be very easy to mow. So this is the one that we still don't know where to put. We're going to be putting an avo tree in here, and the reason for that is we need to raise it above the ground so that its taproot doesn't reach clay. Now, we were thinking that we also would like to grow asparagus. Asparagus takes a couple of years to grow, and you don't want to disturb the soil. So I'm thinking it might be a good idea to plant the asparagus around the base of the avocado tree. We haven't Googled it. We don't know if these are good bedfellows or anything like that yet. We know that the avo needs lots of water, needs lots of sun. I'm not so sure about the asparagus. So maybe you keen gardeners at home can tell us what you think, if you think those two are going to work well together.
I think this is going to be the final resting spot for this one. Avocado trees get quite big, so we want it as far away from the house as possible. We're not quite sure how we're going to get water to it here, but we'll work that out later. But yeah, I think this is going to be a good spot. It will give shade to the garden midsummer. So hopefully this will work out here.
Today's Friday. It's an absolutely stunning day. Blue skies. It's very cold though. We do have snow up on the Serra da Estrela, so looks can be deceiving. Now, as much as I'd like to wrap this video up right now and actually finish this project, it's not going to be possible because we're going to have to wrap this up soon so that it can go up on Patreon. We put our videos on our Patreon page early so that our Patreon supporters can get to see them before anyone else. So if you want to support us on Patreon, you can also see our videos early. I'll put a link up on the screen where you can check it out. We still need to level all of these out. And then the really big thing is obviously filling them up. And I think I underestimated the filling of these things. I worked out that I need between 1 and 1.2 tons of soil to go into each one of these things. As a cost-saving technique, we wanted to use hugelkultur, and that basically is putting a whole bunch of compostable stuff in here. So we're going to be putting like logs and twigs and leaves and all sorts of things like that. But there is a problem that I think might happen if we do that. We have these cross braces, and these cross braces are to stop the soil from pushing the sides out when this thing is full. And so I think what could happen if we put logs and things like that over these cross braces is as the soil compacts, as the soil compacts over time, it's going to put pressure onto these cross braces, and potentially it's going to pull the sides in as these cross braces bend. So yeah, imagine if we put a whole bunch of logs and things and they're going across here, we're going to have a whole bunch of soil, and as that soil sort of compacts, that's going to cause a problem for us. This is some of the old wood and clippings and trimmings that we wanted to put inside the bottom. As you can see, we have some nice big log pieces and things like that. Excuse my dodgy sheepskin slippers, but let me just show you how springy all of this is. Now imagine this is sitting at the bottom and you put a whole bunch of soil on the top, or at least a ton. It's going to be a lot of subsidence. It's going to be dropping quite a bit. So yeah, I'm just worried that that drop is going to cause us a problem when it hits those crossbars. Obviously, I don't know from experience because I've never done this before. But it's made me think that maybe I need to try a slightly different method. So just over there is our neighbour Joaquin's farm. I spoke to his son about where I could get a whole bunch of soil to plant vegetables in. And he told me that there's this stuff called terra preta, which basically means black earth, and that you can buy this. And apparently it's really good. Now I looked into it, and terra preta is basically like Amazonian soil. It's like Amazonian sort of forest soil. It's really rich, really good for planting in. And they make that stuff here with a variety of ingredients. I'm not too sure exactly when it's getting delivered, but the truck's going to come here and it's going to dump 5 tons. I've ordered 5 tons because we've got about a ton per container, about a ton to 1.2 tons. And then of course we also have this round one. So I think 5 tons is going to cover us, and it's going to be really rich, nutrient dense, full of life soil. So hopefully we can get that delivered for next week. I think that's going to be a really good way of doing this. The actual pricing seems really good as well. It works out at 40 euros per ton plus VAT, and the VAT here is 23%. So yeah, I'm actually surprised. I thought it was going to be a lot more expensive than that. Once all of that arrives, we'll get these straightened out, because at the moment obviously they're not level, the spacing is not great between them. We'll get those filled up, and once all of that work's done, so there's no more traffic going through here, we're going to plant a whole bunch of grass seed down here. So this whole fenced off area in summertime is going to be like irrigated, nice and green with a beautiful lawn, because bear in mind that the rest of the farm is all just going to be dry and dusty. It's not going to be irrigated. And the idea is that Gina and I are going to have a nice little green oasis to go to in the middle of the summer when it's like 40 degrees and it's boiling hot. And also there's a little bit of shade at the back of the house here as well. And we've got our little pool just over here. So what do you think, Dog? Is that a good idea? Hey, Mimo? I think it's a good idea. Yeah. So that kind of wraps it up for this week. I really wish that we could have got further. And hopefully next week all of that soil is going to arrive. We do have some really bad weather on the way. It's actually from tomorrow. It's going to be raining. I think we've got a lot of rain next week, which will be great for all of our water sources, but not so great for working outside. But anyway, we'll check you next week, same time, same place, for another episode. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let us know in the comments below what you think. And don't forget to drop us a subscribe and a comment, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram and do all of that stuff. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Ciao.